Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramon, and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I am so thrilled to have you join us today. Remember, we dedicate this podcast exploring the idea of doing business and living life with a purpose. The purpose is servant's heart, serving, bringing value, uplifting people. Would you like to make a difference in your life, in somebody's life, make a change, lift them up? I guarantee you, I get to do it every day. It's the best feeling in the world. Now, my guests, what they're going to do for you is motivate you, inspire you, and educate you on whatever subject they're an expert at. And you're going to love this because it's about veterans. So you veterans out there, I know that listen to my show, take some notes. You're going to want to connect with Ron down the road because a lot of good things he's been doing for 76 years. Just keep that in mind. Now, while listening to the show, here's your call to action. After you listen to Ron, I want you to go ahead and serve yourself and serve others today and make an impact today. And that's the key word. Let's do it today. If we all jumped on today and said 1 million of us are going to make an impact by serving, I guarantee the world will be a little bit better for 5 minutes, 5 hours, or 5 weeks. So go ahead and serve today. And I want to thank my sponsor, Pantheon Alliance. Join a community of high-income entrepreneurs who want to create a world-changing thought leader platform to help everybody grow their business and, of course, grow their life. For more information on Pantheon, just reach out to me and I'll get you all that information. And like I said about my guest, is foundations and veterans. There's a lot out there, but not a lot succeeding or haven't been around long or have been failed. Well, this one's been around 76 years. We're going to dive into it. Let's welcome our guest, Ron. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on today. Really appreciate it.
Foundations don't last 76 years. Why has Hudson Works lasted 76 years?
So the big thing for us is, I think it's the basis of our mission. It's a multi-pronged mission that we're serving. So right after World War II, the workshop was created to help the veterans that were coming back from the war. And a lot of them were working for IBM, which is just down the road from us here in Poughkeepsie, New York. And one of the big things was, they said, you know, you go do this for the country, fight this war for our way of life. And when you come home, your job's going to be here waiting for you. And one of the things I think it was hopeful optimism, but they didn't anticipate the guys coming back maybe not the same way they went over there. Maybe now they had an injury that they sustained in the war and it altered their ability to do their job the way they had been prior. So when they came back, they said, well, okay, we're IBM. Let's do the right thing. Let's create a workshop where we can train these folks now through these disabilities and reintegrate them into the workforce. So we've been doing that. I mean, fast forward to today, we've been doing that for 76 years. And one of the big things is, as IBM started to not manufacture so much anymore and become more of an IT company, we went out to our local community and said, hey, do you have a product that you need to be assembled or manufactured? Do you have something that you need us to maybe get to your customers for you so we can do your supply chain for you as well? And that's where we are now. So we're helping small business owners to grow and scale their businesses with what we're doing.
That's fantastic. Hey, what a multiple pronged benefit. Businesses benefit, vets benefit, your foundation benefits. I'm curious because when I did some research before, the journey. So I'm a vet. I come to Hudson Works. How do I walk through this journey with you?
Right. So a lot of times we work with a local vet-to-vet organization here in town. And one of the things that we see, and it's unfortunate, but it's a happier ending to this, is these veterans are homeless in a lot of cases, and they will find them a place to live. And there's a stipulation, in order for them to be able to take up residency, they have to have a job, because they're going to be paying some kind of rent for the space that they're staying in. So they come to us, we provide them with the opportunity to work and to gain the skills. Now they have a roof over their head, a safe place, a warm bed, place where they can shower and do laundry, which is, I mean, we take that for granted every day. But to some of these men and women, it's just, those are the things that they have had, been missing in their life for so long. So when we bring them in, and we evaluate what are their skills right now, what do they know, and what can we help them with by pairing them up to the right type of opportunity. And then what I mean by that is we do everything from, like I said, assembly work, manufacturing work, to what we call kit work. So if you have a product and components are coming from all around the globe these days, and you need it all put into a box so that the customer has the finished product, we can do that as well. And then we're teaching folks how to do the distribution side. And what's great about that is the region that we're located in here, there are so many distribution centers in this region that these folks, now that they have that, that education behind them, they know the basics of how flow works. Product comes in one door, goes out the other door, and we get it into the hands of the customer. They can walk into one of these facilities now and just have that much more knowledge and have a much more, I guess it's a better conversation with that hiring manager. And because we try to cross-train people, it gives them that ability to really have a valuable conversation. It's like, well, give me an example of a time you did this. And it's like, we want that quiver to be full of arrows and examples for these folks when they're in that interview.
I love it. I always tell people, if I started a company, I needed a team, a large portion would be, 40, I don't know that percentage, but a lot of them would be vets. Discipline, they're intelligent, they've been, following rules, they know how to do that. And there's much more, audience, but that's what I love. Yeah, there's the backside of PTSD and stuff, but what you're doing, it sounds like you're helping them walk through that journey to get past all that.
Yeah, one of the big things too that we pride ourselves on is the way we run this organization, where you feel like you're part of the family, right? You're a team member, but you feel like you're part of the family, because we realize that there has been some trauma along the way. There has been some things that these folks have seen that they'll probably never talk about. And, it's these spaces where we want to give them a place where they're safe and they're comfortable and they can open their mind to learning new skills and new things so that they can get back out there into the world and fend for themselves. I mean, we're a nonprofit. We have caps. We're only going to be able to pay somebody so much, but the hope is that when they leave us, they can start off at that next opportunity right about where they're leaving us at. So, and then the sky could be the limit for them, right? That's one of the biggest things.
So your mission really is to get them out the door. But so what I'm hearing, that's why I was going to ask you this question. So I come in, I actually get paid through you guys by doing work, but I'm learning as I'm working to be a better employee. So I go out to the world and go, hey, this is Steve Ramona. I'm a vet, but I have 5 years with Hudson Works, or 6 months, whatever it may be. Is that the journey I'm hearing?
Yes, correct. So, I mean, the whole focus is, and it's really based on somebody's abilities and their skills. And when they're ready, I mean, we don't want to say, hey, you've been here 6 months, it's time to go.
Yeah.
We want somebody to, if it takes them a year, or maybe it takes them a year and a half, but again, along the way, they're getting all kinds of exposure to all the elements of business that we run. One of the big things that we do here is our North River Roasters coffee roastery. This was donated to us by folks in the community a few years back, and they came in and they literally donated all the equipment, their book of business, and they trained our team how to become these coffee roasters. It's amazing. And we have a lot of local customers here in the New York, Poughkeepsie area. And, whether it's a coffee shop or a local supermarket chain that sells our coffee for us. But the whole program is called Coffee with a Cause, because it's teaching our team not just how to be somebody that can manufacture something, but now they're learning how to be an entrepreneur. Because we're sourcing coffee beans from all over the globe. So they have to know, what beans do we need to make this roast, to make this blend? Where am I going to get the best price for us so that we can be more cost effective for our customers? And, they're learning all those aspects. So they have to understand inventory and purchasing. Then they have to understand, the blending and the packaging and the logistics to get it to the customer. But then there's another side of it. That's the creative, artistic side where they learn how to be a coffee roaster. And that in itself, to see people that come in and well, I drink coffee, but I don't know how to roast coffee. And then they become these master roasters, and they can take these skills and they can go on to maybe start their own business if they want to take that risk on and be a business owner. If nothing else, they can go into an existing business and now they can help that business owner run their business because they have all this background knowledge that they've gotten from running a coffee roastery.
That is, my mind's being blown right now. I love what I'm hearing, because you're also teaching these guys. If Joe Smith says, you know what, I want to launch my own coffee company, he has all that experience. And of course, you probably support him if he goes out in Poughkeepsie and opens up a coffee's everywhere. And it's not going away, by the way. Great business. Yeah. So you can help them become entrepreneurs as well. Just go out on their own.
Yeah, and that's really it. And one of the big things too is the skill sets that they're learning. It's relevant to the work that is being done in our region. They're not just learning some mundane task. They're learning something that is needed in our community. And then the hope is some of these companies, as they grow and they scale, or they may even already be a larger company, when that they get to that level, our folks could go work directly for them. And then, that outsourcing that they provided to us gave them the ability to walk into one of these companies that we're partners with, and they can hire them on full time. We had a company where we were making aeration systems for water treatment plants. So all the plumbing, right? All when you drive by and you see all those bubbles coming up and it smells really bad. Well, we created all the plumbing to make the bubbles work. And during COVID, there was a warehouse across the street from their corporate headquarters that became available. So they got the lease for it and they brought all the work in-house, but they brought the whole team from here with them. So now they're working directly for this company. They're getting paid a whole lot more than we could have ever paid them. They've got retirements and benefits and all these things that are just, that is the end game. That is like what we're trying to do.
That's the incredible stepping stone that you're giving them. They got to start somewhere, and obviously start with you. So because the big problem with company, I talk to a lot of companies every week, staffing. From grocery stores to manufacturing. I mean, it's how do we keep our staff up, especially when you start scaling and get busy. And you solve a lot of that problem with well-skilled staff that they don't have to worry about training too much. So now their training times drop tremendously.
Yeah, correct. And one of the things we found too is that the staffing is really a concern for a lot of these companies, because a lot of times they might have $1 million machine that needs 10 guys to operate. And then they have a $50,000 machine that needs 4 guys to operate, but they don't even have the 10 guys for the first machine, and they can't put that thing on hold. So the small machine gets neglected, but then we can take some of that work in-house, and a lot of that work can actually be done with manual labor. We can do it by hand, some screwdrivers and drills and what have you. So that work is going to still get completed for the company, and they can focus all their attention on their real money-making equipment that's producing the big product for them.
You're actually serving all your local businesses that are involved with this. That is, I see why you're on the show. I get it. And nonprofits, I love having on the show. People listening, I know I'm thinking, what do you guys need right now to help grow this?
The biggest thing we need is really awareness. We need people to know that we're here. It's funny, we have people that have lived in the Poughkeepsie area their whole life, and they come in to do a tour of the building, and they said, I've driven by this place for 20 years, 30 years. I never knew what went on in this place. I never knew that this was right here in our backyard. So it's really that awareness where we can get the word out. Companies that might need the support that we can provide, the outsourcing that we can do, that can reach out to us and say, hey, I have this need, we are short on staff, or, I'm working out of a home-based business and I'm outgrowing the garage and the back of my SUV. I need to put my product somewhere and I need a safe place for it. And that's one of the things, because we do have 52,000 square feet, we have loading docks. So, you're not sitting around all day waiting for a UPS truck to deliver your goods. They come directly to us. And then we have a safe, secure warehouse where it's stored. So you don't have to worry about if you weren't home and it gets delivered, if, we know what goes on when packages are just sitting on the porch. So it eliminates that for these small home-based businesses. Then the flip side of it is, now they're selling their product. Okay, so they're filling up the back of their van with all these boxes, then they're running from the postal service over to UPS, then to FedEx. Those guys come directly to us every day. So we have those pickups. So that allows that business owner, especially those entrepreneurs, to focus more on growing their business. Now they can maybe create a second product to go alongside the flagship product that we're managing for them, right? They can get out and go to pitch nights and try to find investors and try to find people that want to buy into their ideal, right? So we really, in a lot of senses, we do the work that businesses shouldn't be doing so that they can focus on growing their business.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So you're a hub for entrepreneurs as well. So there's that other side. I didn't think about. You fund staff, companies that need it, but you also go, hey, entrepreneur, we're here to help you. This is great. So audience out there, if you're in Poughkeepsie in the area, and we'll get his contact information out to you. Just reach out. I'm sure if it's a fit, it's a fit. If it's not, at least you have that conversation. I'm sure the cost is so much cheaper than going through the other routes, and time is a big cost as well, and that's important. Tell us a story. I'm very excited to ask this, of one of the vets that you work with and graduated and went to a company and was very successful.
Yeah, so we had a gentleman that had come to us a couple of years ago, and he was going through a really tough time and really struggling. And, the biggest thing for him, it wasn't a work ethic problem. It was a work etiquette problem. He just didn't have the basis of knowledge of, hey, I know I have a commitment to do on this day. I have PTO. What does that mean? So we walked him through just those types of things, like what PTO is, scheduled time off, setting up his day for him so that he could be successful throughout the tasks that he had to do. So he worked with us for a little over a year, and then he was able to move on from us. And he now, believe it or not, he is a owner operator of an over-the-road truck. And he is loving life right now. He's got freedom, that he sees the whole country, that he's like, I would have never had the motivation to do this if I didn't get this background and get this discipline. So I think that's a story that when I hear that story, and it just gives me chills every time I think of it,
That's a grand slam, because he's a trucker, has his own business, making money. It's probably helping with any issues he has, because I know jobs help vets with issues. That's why I love what you do. A lot of times the isolation and loneliness is what causes these problems for vets. And you take that away by, okay, let's keep you busy, 8-10 hours a day. You've been around 76 years. I'm going to say it again. It's amazing. Nonprofits, that's like a unicorn. What do you see the future of Hudson Works next 3 to 5 years?
So one of the things that we're doing now is we've done a lot of this outsourcing work, but we're trying to bring in more Mid-Hudson Works owned businesses. And like the coffee is a business that we own. We were actually donated some really nice Roland Soul-Jet printers that we can do label printing, we can do banners on these things. So now we're starting to implement printing and graphic design. We can also create heat transfers, so we can do silk screening on shirts and hats and things like that. So it's another level that we're looking at, where now, believe it or not, a lot of the clients that we have in-house already that do business with us, they can become customers for the graphic design stuff too. So it's like, really, we talk about a one-stop shop. I had a gentleman in here the other day who creates bath salts and incense. And he's like, Ron, I just got to get the product to you, and you can do soup to nuts, everything I need, from my labeling to my packaging to my assembly work for some of the stuff that needs to be assembled. He said, and then you get it to my customers for me because you can ship it out on a daily basis and get it into the hands of my customers. And he says, all I have to do is drive the company forward. I just have to just get out there and promote it. And again, he's a good example of somebody who had the flagship product, which was his bath salts, and he does it in a beautiful wine bottle. He and his wife create these fragrances. They're like chemists or something, and they create this wonderful product. And then he was able to create the incense as something on the side now to go along that flagship product. But he would have never had the ability to do that, right?
Yeah. And people listening out there, because it came to my thought, I talked to a lot of businesses. There's other people doing this, but what makes Hudson Works so awesome is they're training vets, they're getting vets jobs, but they're also a community. And that's why this guy can come in and run his business and help you guys. You can help him run his business. It's done a lot, but I've never seen this. And I just, kudos to you guys, what you're doing. We're coming to the end here. I want to ask a fun question because I want to get to know you, the director of this and running this. Is I've got a reservation at a restaurant for you, table of 4. You're obviously sitting in one of the chairs. Who would you invite, dead or alive? Why would you invite them, those 3 people? And also, what food would you order?
Oh, boy. So 3 people that I would invite. Well, I would say if I were to look back, I would love to be able to sit down with Richard Dreyfuss. He's been in some of my favorite movies growing up, from, Jaws, American Graffiti, going on through Close Encounters, right? What About Bob? I could pick his brain for a while,
Yeah.
Another person I think I would really love to sit down with would be somebody from way back when, if you were to look at, say, Ben Franklin. I think he was such an innovator and a creator, and he just the way he can talk and the things that he used to write and how his wit was. I think that would be amazing. And the other person, if I was really going to think about this, I would say it would probably have to be Samuel Taylor Coleridge that, wrote the Rime of the Ancient Mariner. That's one of my favorite stories. It's one of those stories I can actually remember lines from and repeat, almost like if it was a movie line, right?
Yeah, that's a good book.
I think, to just make it easy, I would just order pizza. I love pizza.
There you go. Great meal for people that want to get to know each other and ask questions and get answers from. That's very cool. Ron, God bless you for what you're doing. I'm so fired up. I'm going to support you with some referrals, but I really love what you're doing. And the other people that are doing it without the vets and the foundation, I love that too, because it's all helping. But you have an extra cause that really makes a difference. I know people listening want to support you. How can they connect with you and do that?
So the easiest way is to find us at the web. It's Mid Hudson Works, all one run long word together with an S on the end of works.org. That's one of the easiest ways. And my email, you can email me directly. It's my first name, Ron, R-O-N, at midhudsonworks.org. And then our phone number is simple. It's 845-471-3820.
There you go. Puts his phone number out there too. That is a real servant's heart. And audience, take this podcast. And again, Ron, thank you. This is such a great show. But podcasts to me are a gift. If you're listening and you know somebody with a nonprofit, this might be a great direction for them to go with their nonprofit. I'm kind of thinking about that on my side, Ron. Like, what a great way to be a win-win-win. But here's the other thing. If you know a vet out there, I'm going to be pinpoint. This is where the gift of a podcast is powerful. And they're local to this area, or you know a business local, share it with them and go, hey, I just listen to Ron on this podcast. He's got something cool. Well, somebody listens to it, reaches out to Ron and his team and starts helping them. You just gave a gift. Simple 30 seconds, watch this, 10, 15 minutes. You don't have to watch the whole show. Love for them too, but it doesn't matter. Let's use these podcasts as gifts like that. And I know I've got some people I'm going to share it with to give them gifts. You guys do the same thing. And as always, me and Ron want to thank you so much for watching or listening to this podcast, and we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.